So, how do you do all these things? How do you influence? How do you persuade? How do you attract the right clients? How do you lead? How do you build powerful relationships? You do this through better understanding, right? Not having folks understand you, which all of you out there may have seen this. I've definitely seen it in my 20 years. So many realtors are telling, not selling. They're out there just showing and telling. They're talking, and they get ahead of themselves. They move very, very fast. They don't slow down enough to understand and really ask the right questions and dive deep into how they can best serve. When you do that, you have the confidence. Most of the time what happens is people actually go down that road of telling, not selling, and showing and telling because they're not confident in themselves. Maybe they haven't learned or role played the right questions. Maybe they don't know what to ask. And so what we do all the time around here is just help each other get better by learning the right questions, diving deeper, and best serving clients and serving ourselves, right? Hold ourselves accountable to be and really, really get this business. So understanding clients, not being understood. I'm going to read a quote up here that I've got up here. I don't think you can see it on the board, but I'll read it to you. People will learn from you, listen to you, love you, buy from you, and hire you when they feel understood, not when they understand you. So that kind of like, that should hit home right there. So that's the biggest thing. And so what I'm going to do is go around the room and I'm going to learn some powerful questions that these guys here in this office and gals have actually learned to help their clients. And Donna, I won't start with you first. Donna's here on our mortgage side, moving mortgage rocks. But we will get to her and we'll get a question out of you. But I'll jump to Natalie. Natalie Cruz here. She's awesome. But give everybody, like, what's a powerful question that you've used with your clients that have helped serve and helped you understand better?
Is anything getting in the way of movement right now?
Right, yes.
So it opens up another door of somebody is preventing them buying right now, credit score,
right,
financing.
Yeah. So what if anything is getting in the way of them actually making a change, purchasing now, selling now, whatever it may be, right? I mean, anybody in here, like that question right there is a powerful one. Does that help anybody else in the room?
Oh yeah.
Right? Have we talked about it a few times? Right? If you don't know that, could you possibly get surprised? Right? So how many of you out there, realtors out there, or if you could just be in sales period, have failed to know the answer to that question and gotten close to maybe what you thought was the end result, and then all of a sudden, it just changed, and a big surprise came up, and you have spent all this time, and we're getting nowhere, right? That's a great question. All right, Christina, what you got? Can't be the same ones now.
I've actually started using this one more recently. The one that's, instead of rather, what's your ideal time frame, more so like how soon are you looking to be in your new home?
Right.
And that kind of, I've noticed that they don't just jump around and give you random answers. They actually like, oh, you know what? Instead of 6 months down the road, maybe 3 months from now, or instead of a year down the road, maybe 6 months from now. So I actually just recently went through that with a client, and then I asked, why is this time now important to you?
Right.
And you get better results, yeah.
Yeah. So you just define the terms a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anybody in this room using that one? Right? A little bit different than what's your time frame? That's the boring, that's the easy. I hear that all the time. It can be whatever, right? But how soon are you looking to be in your new home? How soon are you looking to own your new home? Tell me why that is. What has to happen to make that happen, right? Now we're defining the terms. Now we're defining reality. Now we're defining if we got movement going on. Now we're defining the truth. And the beautiful thing about defining the truth is now you know, they know you're on the same page, and you can actually move mountains. Things can happen. But if the time frame is just kind of staying in the gray area, skating around the truth, and you never really get anywhere, right? So that's awesome, super awesome. That's a couple of them that we have up here. Wow, I like that. Yeah. Jolie, you're third today.
I know. And they took 2 of my questions, so.
We should have had 3 then, so you got one more.
Yeah, well, I took 4, but I'm going to cross off the 4th because you're only going to laugh at it.
Awesome. No, please tell me I might need it, right? Yeah.
The, one of the things that I've asked that people I get a mixed vibe for, are they really looking or not looking, and, you know, their prices are all over the place, and, they're willing to settle, you know, for things that are just not reasonable.
Yep.
I usually ask them to, what's more important to you right now? Is it the price that you're gonna pay, or is it the location?
Mm-hmm.
And most of them that are not really ready to purchase will say, it's the price.
Yep.
And not giving thought to really, you know, the long term of this, you know,
Yeah.
the equity that's gonna build. And so that gives me a little bit of a more, you know, I can maybe nurture to watch type of,
Yeah.
you know, situation. It really does narrow them down, because when they say price, you know, then, you know, it can mean a bunch of different things that they could purchase. They just want the cheapest, you know,
Right.
cheapest location or cheapest property.
Yeah, so remember this too, whenever you start questioning, we use LP Mama around here, this, that, and the other. You start questioning different categories, start, and then, like I always tell you, there's always another question to ask in that category. So when I'm asking that, you know, is it price, is it location, tell me what's really most important, right? So let's say that, and tell me why, you
Mhm.
know? So you dig into that, and then of course you start digging into, let's talk about that price, you know? So you just start digging more into every scenario. And I would never leave a qualifying scenario or area, or like segment, or the location, or area, or why. I'll never leave until I've truly defined everything I could, and I felt extremely confident and comfortable that I knew their major motivation, or their major price points and budgets, or their location, right? I like to check those things. I like to read, I've got their location nailed down now. Now I can move on, right? So, I mean, I would say dig deeper. How many ever questions you guys out there, or anybody in the room is asking? If you're asking 3 or 4, you'd be asking 5 or 6. Just keep going deeper, and you'll just gain clarity, and clarity gives you confidence, right? Brenda Bouchard over there, buddy. Come on now. Bring it today. Laura, what you got?
I always ask them about their pre-approval.
Yep.
For one thing, you know whether they're really serious about buying.
Right?
And then the other thing is you don't want to take them out, show them properties, and then have them disappointed because they can't get the property.
Right.
So then we know a price point and we can go from there, and then they're hot to buy.
Yeah, awesome. So what would the question be if you were asking about pre-approval, or getting pre-approved in finance or whatever?
I'd ask them if they were, you know, if you talk to a lender,
Right?
and then I'd say, would you mind me introducing you to one of our awesome lenders? We work side by side, and
Yeah, awesome.
then I sell Donna.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And then I set the appointment, and Donna calls them.
Right, yeah. So if that didn't happen, there could definitely be surprises.
Most likely it won't happen.
Yeah, right.
I'll just be spinning my wheels and wasting my time instead of moving on to somebody else that's really ready.
Right, yeah. So a must-have right there. That's a must-have, like on the board. You must have those things. Of course, cash, funds, setting it up. Denise, what you got?
I like to find out what their current dissatisfaction with their current situation is. What is it that you don't like about your home? What's causing you to want to make this change right now in your life? And how will it affect your family
love it.
once you do it?
Yeah, love that.
And it gives you a lot of, their answers can help you dig deeper and find out, once you find out how that will affect them going forward, and help you to guide them in the right direction.
Yeah. This lady's learned something now. Oh my goodness, that's awesome. So tell me, share with them too, Denise, some of the things, because you recently were like, oh my God, this stuff really works. When I leave the process and dig in, like it really, really, really is impactful and works. Share that. Just kind of share your thoughts.
Well, recently I've had some buyers that have come in from out of town. I just recently sold them a home, and they came and they really didn't know the Myrtle Beach area. So they asked me for my input. Where should I go? Where can I find the home that I'm looking for, that I can retire in comfortably? And it was really a fun process, leading them through that whole situation, finding them their perfect home. And all the way through, they kept coming back to me, what do you think, Denise? Is this a good buy? Should I go with this home? And it was really humbling, actually, because
Yeah,
they would come to me and ask me what my thoughts about the whole thing was. And it was just an awesome experience working with them and helping them find their retirement home.
Yeah. So, I mean, what I'm hearing is they were confident in you, right?
Yeah.
So there was something about what you were doing that was exuding confidence.
Mhm.
So they're willing to, we talked about lots of times we get to the point, it's fun, they start to say, Luke, what do you think?
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
It's kind of, it's like, now we're cooking with gas, right? Now things are moving.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
it's
fact
fun.
that they would just ask, that they would trust me enough to ask
Right.
me, well, Denise, should we buy this? What do you think? What are your thoughts on that? Every property we went into, what are your thoughts, Denise?
Right.
So it was really a great experience working with them and very enjoyable.
That's awesome. Thank you, man. Mr. Luxter.
Question that I've been hitting my clients with is asking them, how does your current home factor into you making this move?
Ooh, love it. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes the answer is, I'm renting, our house is on the market, we need to list it, or we own our house outright, and this is just going to be a second home. That leads to, like you said, the second, third, and fourth questions after that. But it opens up that conversation of how their current home
Right.
is involved in this move.
Yeah. So I always look at the alternative. If I didn't know about their current home, could I get surprised?
Yes.
Without question. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I've watched, I've seen realtors, they get all excited, they get somebody into a home after they spend all this time with them on the phone, brought them in town, what have you, and they get them into the home. It's definitely the home. But then for the first time in the conversation, Mr. and Mrs. Smith's like, there's no way in hell I'm buying this. I got to sell my current home. For the love of God, you should have maybe asked it earlier, right? Yeah, right. So super, super, super important.
That's right.
Yeah, and it does open up deeper conversations there. Because once you know that, if there's something getting in the way, you got to knock those walls down and understand it, or else it's just going to get in your way, right? And get in their way. Yeah, that's a great one. Everybody's learning. That's awesome. Steve, what you got?
So just
Keep it simple, dude.
very simple. So just jumping off of Luke, I've helped my buyers that actually needed to list their home, actually list their homes and their condos, and I would go into their home and I would say, I'll just say, this is a beautiful home. Why would you ever want to list it? Why would you ever want to sell it? And then they just start pouring out the things that they don't like. And then I just counter that with the things that they actually want in their future home or their future condo. And then just weigh that in, tie it in with the market, and let them know that they need to be prepared and they have to have this listed now. So when they find the home that they want, they can go right forward.
Yeah, yeah. So it's that kind of piggybacking off of what what Denise said too, is that current dissatisfaction. You just defined the 4-2 formula book, the current dissatisfaction, the future promise of what they're going to get, right?
Right.
Yeah. There's a lot of dissatisfaction and there's a big future promise. There's a major win there, right? There's a little dissatisfaction, you got a lot of work to do, right? Because, dissatisfaction creates urgency, and you're looking for urgency. So if there's no dissatisfaction, you got to have a major future promise. But if you got the dissatisfaction, it's game time, right? They're the ones who make a change. That's good. Yeah, that's good. Jeffrey, what you got, champ?
Well, in regards to digging in with a client, when you're talking with them, I always really want to find out who else is going to be involved in the decision-making process. Who's going to be helping them with their buying, decisions that they make. Family member, husband, wife,
Yeah.
their mother, father, who knows, anybody in there. Because, I've definitely been in homes with clients before where you find out that they won't make the deal unless mom gives the okay. So,
Right?
in that beginning stage, you definitely want to find those things out so you can reach out to those people and help yourself understand a little bit more what they're looking for as well.
Yeah. Oh, Jeff, don't worry about it. I'm coming in town. My wife, whatever I buy, my wife's going to be okay with. Does that sound good with you? Yeah. How would that work out, right? Has anybody ever been through that? Has anybody ever felt for that?
Husbands and wives always want different things, that's
Right.
for sure.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get them on the same page. That's awesome, man. Tell you what, this is really all. You guys are, it's good stuff. You guys, what's amazing is we're about halfway around the room and we still have different questions coming. That's pretty insightful and that's pretty impressive. Brett's like, damn it.
No, you just took mine.
Yeah.
So now I'm
Try to think of
you may have to pass on me and come back.
You got what you got?
For real.
Yeah, for real. I should have never said anything. I said that really.
Took my question.
I had to look on your sheet to see who guys going first.
Are you guys not sharing again?
Oh. Hey, well, we do help each other around here, ladies, which is good.
No, I guess one of the questions that we normally like to ask is, what is this going to do for your everyday life? How is it going to improve your everyday life?
Yes.
That's pretty much a common question we like to ask all our clients. You know, get the true meaning of what they're looking for with the change
Right.
moving here.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, when you ask that question, you know, all the emotions start coming out too. Because if you really ask it, you slow down and you listen, and you can piggyback a few other questions, there's a better than average chance when you go that route. There could be some tears, right? There could be some major emotions of why this change is happening. And I've often told you guys, it was not a successful week for me if there wasn't some tears in the sales game, right? They can be happy, they can be sad, but bring out the emotions, you will move mountains. You know, people are moved by emotion for sure. That's a great one, man. That's fantastic. Bradley, what you got?
Well, I like to get in their mindset of what's going to be important and why they want to work with me. So what things are important when it comes to choosing a real estate professional.
Awesome. Yeah. That's pretty important, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Look, so let me ask you this. When you ask that question, what kind of things do you hear?
Communication.
Yeah.
Listening, so that, you know, stay within my budget. It seems like a lot of folks will run into a lot of people that are out there trying to help them find the highest priced home,
Right.
not the one that's practical for what they're looking for.
Yeah. I was hoping that you would say that, because that's always a great question. And the listening, I've heard over and over forever, right? They're just looking for somebody to help them and listen to them.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, right, and be able to communicate well. But the listening's always cool, because I've heard so many times that I was with this agent for a week. They just didn't listen to me, and we went back home frustrated. You know, they just didn't listen. So it's kind of like, it's sort of like what we're talking about, right? Influence, persuasion, the way you attract clients too is you listen to them. It's kind of what we're talking about here. Right? That's awesome, man. That's good. Andrew.
One of my probably favorite questions is for clients that are living, you know, far away, haven't been to the area in a little while, or perhaps may never have been to the area.
Right.
I always ask, when you're not at home or at work, what is something that you love to do, whether it be a hobby or
Right.
you know, just anything, and it really opens up a lot of activities they like to do, whether it's kayaking or at shows, and that kind of lets me hone in on different locations on exactly what they're looking for, or where their house should be close by, or proximity to. So
Yeah, super smart. Yeah, super smart. Rapport is a big deal in this game too, right?
absolutely.
Yeah, and so you can find locations off of that. You're building deeper rapport. You might find some similar interests.
Right.
You know, you may even have some buddies or something that actually kayak that you could connect them with.
Right.
All
It kind
kinds
of just connects the dots.
Right.
And it's really good. So.
Yeah, that's super cool. Love it. That's good, man. Eric, how about you, Champ?
Well, the majority of my questions have already been used up, so go with kind of a unique one to not necessarily Myrtle Beach, but a touristy area where you have condos and rentals. Is someone who's looking for a condo and they want it as a secondary and an investment. Is this going to be primarily a secondary purchase or an investment purchase? And then you kind of open up into really what they're specifically looking for, and she can X-name a lot of the non-desirables out really quick.
Right, because there is a difference, right, between secondary, we're talking about here, secondary and investment,
Yes.
right?
Correct.
And oftentimes when you guys tell me about that, I'm like, so they're looking for an investment or what have you. Are they planning on using it at all? You know, so just food for thought out there. I mean, look, there's plenty of investors out there. I've shared with everybody in this room that you can find some good investors, but they will also waste your time. You can spend a lot of time with the big majority of them because they're not dialed into the relationship with you. They're dialed into whatever number, which is typically low ball, that they want to get, right? So you got to be very, very smart. But if they're actually a secondary home and they're a little bit attached to using it some, the interest goes up a little higher. Everybody agree with that? Yeah. So I would ask that. I would make sure that that's a good one. You know, it's kind of a basic one, but hey, the block and tackling wins, right? For sure. That's good, man. So I'm gonna jump over here, then I'm gonna jump back over here. Chuck Stir. Chuck is, I think, honestly, maybe show of hands in the room. I think Chuck might be like the best inside sales agent, client care specialist in the damn country.
Don't say that in front of Luz.
Seriously.
Oh man,
So
we're in trouble now.
We have one.
Just made
We got 1A and 1B, so yeah, it's all good. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm thing 2, she thing 1. As
Yeah.
you know, she runs the show.
Yeah.
She's watching, by the way.
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait to back me up there. Yeah.
But no, thank you guys, definitely. I appreciate it a lot. One thing that I'd like to definitely address first and foremost in that first conversation, as you guys know, on the lead generation end, when we first connect with the client, is address the agent situation. Have they spoken or been working directly with any local real estate agents here in the Myrtle Beach or Grand Strand area? Main reason being is we're actually in the process of direct transferring it to an agent. So kind of piggybacks off what Brad said. I want to give them as much incentive to work directly with the Trembley group, get them comfortable with us, and start building that trustworthy relationship so that they know there's only one agency to call, which is going to be the Trembley group, or myself as the assistant, or my full-time agent, such as Brad Amon. So
It's awesome. Yeah, you gotta know that. You gotta define the terms, man. And then, of course, if they've spoken to somebody, not if they have a commitment, oh, wish you well and what have you, we can ever help you down the road, great. But if they've spoken with somebody and we're trying to create value, what kind of questions do you ask? What kind of questions do you ask to create the value for our company?
So specifically, I'll ask them, with all due respect, I can respect that we don't want to step on anyone's shoes, but it sounds like to me you haven't necessarily spoken with a full-time real estate professional who actually took the time in the front end to understand what you and your family are personally looking for so that we can make best use of your time as well as ours. So with that being said, are you just receiving some listings? Tell me a little bit more about what they've done for you. Then they go into, oh, we've been speaking with them, we met them in person. Like Brad said, they start explaining, oh, maybe we viewed some properties, they wasted our time, weren't necessarily truly listening to what's most practical for us instead of just trying to drive them to their highest and best price point. A lot of key things come into consideration with that, and then I kind of hit on the key aspects like Brad mentioned. Well, we are within the 1% of full-time agencies. We'd love the opportunity to earn your business. When you're hiring myself and Brad, you're not just getting us, you're getting a full-time agency with over 17 full-time agents with tons of experience, and then on top of it, most important thing to us is that communication and understanding so that we can best serve you guys.
It's awesome, man. Love it. Good job, bro. All right, Miss Christie.
All right, well, I'm going to piggyback on Andrew's a little bit, with a little bit of a different take. As location, a lot of the folks that we have coming in are coming in from different parts of the area, different parts of the country, and they don't really know a lot about the area. So I like to kind of establish what's important to them as far as location, neighborhoods. Do they have kids in school, and what kind of schools are important to them?
Yes,
Looking at, like he said about, do they want to have access to the beach or access to the river, or, different types of recreation. How far are they willing to commute back and forth from work to home?
Right.
As far as that's concerned with traffic, if it's an area that's got like a heavy traffic, situation, then I try to disclose that to them and so that we can find something that's going to be convenient for them and the best fit for their needs, so location wise. So.
Yeah, so area, I'm sure everybody in this room knows, but those out there, if you haven't defined the area, you're not there yet, right? Because it doesn't matter if this house is beautiful, if they're buying in freaking Florida, what's the use, right? If this house in North Myrtle Beach is beautiful, but they're buying in Pawleys Island, right? So the area is crazy important. Dig in there, define the terms, what's really most important to them. Yeah, you'll win for sure. That's good. All right, Jess, what you got? You got a lot of red notes there, so I'm not sure.
Your handwriting is really pretty.
It does look really good from here. It might say Coach T's crazy, Coach T's crazy, Coach T's not.
How familiar are you with our market and the way that it's currently performing?
Oh yeah, no problem. Right. So you would, there's always another question, right? So you would ask that for what reason?
To future pace them so that they realize that this is not 2010, it's not a foreclosure market. Things are going anywhere from 98 to 103% of asking price, 100 and above, obviously, when you're in a multiple offer situation. So the way that I tell them that without trying to sell them on that is just, if we're gonna play, let's play to win.
Right.
Let's come with a strong offer.
Yeah.
Let's go for the W and not waste each other's time. And,
Right.
you know, if this is what you really want, then let's set you up to win.
100%. So yeah, it's good because at the end of the day, you need to have that we talk about this often, right? You need to have that conversation early and often, right? One reason why you're asking the questions, are they familiar with the market, is you want to see if they are, and then you're also seeing if there's going to be an objection there. You're going to be looking at $250,000 houses, and they're wanting to put in a $210,000 offer, but you want to know early. So you want to know early, you want to know often, you want to get deeper in that, so you're set up to win. And I hope everybody out there knows, and everybody here knows, that nobody, for the most part, or that I've ever met, wants their second, third, or fourth choice, ever, right? And so, and trust me, whenever somebody's buying a home, buying a secondary home, they will pay for what they want. This is their life, this is their experiences, and so a few more $1,000s in a mortgage payment over time is nothing, and they will be extremely excited that you got it for them. They will not want to go to their second, third, or fourth choice, and nor will you. And lots of times when they do, they pay more for their second, third, or fourth choice. You know, so you need to identify early and often. That's really, really good. JJ, got it down to the end here, man.
You get to go last.
Yeah, get to go last. What you got?
So I figured I could get away because y'all were doing the phone call question. So I'm going to go to a showing question, and that's the only way I was going to make it through the whole thing. So one of the things that I love to ask is, you know, how do you guys spend 80% of your time? What are your activities in the home? And what I'm looking for there is I want them, other than sleeping, I want them to start talking to me about how they're going to use the home, what's important to them in the home.
Right.
You know, we start placing furniture, we start looking about, like, talking about actually cooking in the kitchen and watching TV in the living room. And next thing you know, and this is not every house, but this would be like their favorite house.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you're living in that world with them. And getting into the emotions and uncovering things, and you win, like you're saying. It's emotion backed by logic, and
Yeah.
you win when you get to the emotions. So I got a bonus question for you. Since I'm last, I'll close it down by saying,
Yeah.
Would you like your middle initials on the purchase agreement?
Nice! Oh yeah, I like that. Well, hey, Jeremy Jinks has sold 49 homes already this year, about 14 or 15 million. So that question, maybe it works, right?
Just a little.
Just maybe it works just a little bit, right? A lot going on there. I hope. Well, I'll tell you what. Before we end, Donna, is there any? Donna is with Movement Mortgage. Do you have a question on the mortgage side that you often ask, that you've seen kind of help out clients on the mortgage side?
I do. Many times people are coming down here to live. They don't own a home, maybe in their previous state. And they say, oh, it's gonna be my primary residence.
Right.
I'll say, okay, where is the money coming from to pay for this home? So they'll say, well, I'm gonna stay up here, but that's gonna be my primary.
Right.
But it can't be.
Yeah.
So my biggest question is, do you have a job in South Carolina? Or are you gonna do this as a second home? And then they get all upset about the second home taxes and all those things. But that's a really important thing, is your primary residence is where your money is coming from.
Right.
So if you live in a state and you're buying a house in another state, it's gonna be a second home if you're using income from that money, unless of course you're retired or something like that. So that comes up a lot.
Right. Yeah. So the moral to the story is, on the mortgage side, anything that we do, always gotta ask questions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Got lots of questions to best understand. So, look, Facebook friends, hope everybody out there learned something today. There's a bunch of questions that were shared in this room. I know I learned some really, really cool ones. What I'm excited about too is what everybody has been learning. If you use a few of these, or maybe all of them, maybe you wrote that stuff down, your business will change, your life will change, and real estate will probably get a little bit more fun for you. So have an amazing day. Go crush today, and we'll see you soon. Take care.